May peace be upon you. Good evening, everybody. This is a super special edition of Prove to Me That You're Alive. And I'm your host, Nazarene. This is take 3, and I promised myself and the universe that I'm going to make a video and let the information channel through me, and if it doesn't work, I'm gonna cut it off and not do it at all. But I kind of lied, and I'm kind of going against my temptation because I think the information that I'm going to share is very important. I kind of let myself just now get angry, and that's not a good thing either. I don't want to go too deep and too off topic, but I just want everyone to know that I'm doing this video from the bottom of my heart with all sincerity, because although we are at a very special, at a very great time in human spiritual evolution and in human history period, we're seeing a lot of information that's confusing and causing fear and panic. So as most of you know, we have been going through a cosmic shift since 2012, since about the end of 2012. And the beginning of it even started a little earlier, but I'm not going to get into that. The point of this video is to briefly tell you what's going on and what you need to do. And another reason is why I'm doing this is because I'm seeing a lot of videos online, and 90% of all these videos are just like mass media, very much controlled, and are meant to cause fear and panic and, total, making this illusion even more illusionary. You have your reptilian bloodlines, and everyone's talking about the Illuminati. Is this reality of computer simulation? You have Mandela effect, more of the recent ones. So I'm going to tell you exactly what you need to do. I'm going to tell you exactly what the Illuminati are and their purpose, and I'm going to tell you briefly about the Mandela effect. But the point of this is to give you the code to all of this, because obviously most of us know that there is a code to all of this. Now, all this knowledge that I'm going to share, it's already within us, and I'm talking about the real us, the real I. So I guess I gotta get into the difference, and those that are actually supposed to see this video are gonna see this video, and I'm pretty sure that you already know the difference or have heard about the difference. But everything that I'm gonna say, we might have heard it already. Some of the things you have never heard before, but I want you to really, really give it a thought, and don't just listen to me. Go out and do your own studies. Our ancestors have left us knowledge. And once again, literally all the knowledge to the keys to the whole universe is within us. Because we are very much a part of and one with everything, the whole universes, the whole dimensions, everything that's out there is one, if you will, breathing, acting, developing, organism, and I'm kind of referring to everything in the contents of the physical, because it's so hard for us to step out and think outside of the physical. You know, a lot of us still think that God is a white man with long beard, you know, sitting on a big throne on a cloud and calling shots and getting pissed off and causing all this mayhem. But those of us who actually know anything realize that God, in fact, is what you would call the super consciousness, this universal consciousness that is in every single thing and everybody, and everything you see around you and don't see around you is one organism. And if you were to think of it again in the physical terms, just think of the universe and universes as being your body, and us being like this little germ on our body that we don't see, that we can't see, that we can't even see with a microscope. So, as most of us know, there's what the spiritual world calls the ego, and then there's the I. And I like to use your I because that's what the Buddhists call it, and it kind of describes it in a very nice way. So, as most of us know, and everyone's talking about, since the end of 2012, we have been going through a very, very special time, and yet very chaotic time. We're making it ourselves, actually, a chaotic time in the whole human evolution and spiritual evolution of this realm and this planet. And a lot of us call it the apocalypse. And you know, before 2012 came, we thought that it was the end of the world, that everything's going to end. But again, as most of us know, the apocalypse means the unveiling. And a lot of people think that the unveiling means, you know, you just take off a veil and all of a sudden everyone starts waking up, and whoever's not, you know, woken up, you know, they're going to get left behind. A part of it is true, but what that really means is our Sagittarius constellation has been going through a shift. You know, everything, you know, the solar systems and our planet has been going through a shift, and this unveiling doesn't mean that a veil comes off. It means the veil between you gotta excuse my immigrant, but the veil between our third dimensional realm and other realms is getting thinner, and it will be getting thinner for the next 50 years because it's what you call a cleansing process. And that's why the so-called elite, you know, they're in panic. And the 90% of all the videos that you see on YouTube, the information that you get out there is, again, very much created to cause panic and cause fear, which is fear in itself. We should not feel. You know, we should not have this as a part of us. And the other 10% is literally people that have gained a little bit of knowledge, and you know, all of a sudden they think they know everything, so they start running with it and creating their own theories and creating more confusion. So I just want to shed light, and one very important thing I'm going to say is you should not fear anything. And there's no, I mean, there are the Illuminati, but they don't control anything. So I'm going to go back to really quickly In this video, I'm not going to get into human history, origins, and where we come from and things like that. I'm going to make other separate videos about it, but I really quickly want to give you the code to all this, and explain and tell you that there's nothing for you to be scared of. There's nothing for you to fear. Everything is working and functioning in great harmony. So there's your physical self. When we were born, when we came into this reincarnation, and reincarnation, you must notice that the word re means obviously repeating. So we might have been here, and in your actual current lifetime, you might have already done it thousands, maybe millions of times, because everything that's known and unknown, the universes and your consciousness and the universal super consciousness has no beginning and no end. And you are coming back to these rebirths, as most of us know already, to learn and to pass the test. But how do you do it, right? And a lot of us fear and think, man, we see that this world is totally effed. We're waking up and we're seeing how they fake 9/11 and all these different attacks, and all these ceremonies that we're seeing now, and a lot of us think, oh my God, these people are running the world, I can't do anything about it. I'm in this illusion, and it's nothing to be done. Now, why do we say illusion? We say illusion because this literally is an illusion. As I was saying, when you're born into this physical body, your memory of consciousness of what and who you really are is completely erased. And since birth, your brain starts getting fed with knowledge of obviously things that you see and hear and feel around you, right? The five senses. And what you build is a perception. I don't have to get into depths with that, most of us know. But you really have to think about it. All we are is perception of what society has embedded in us, as far as the physical goes. And of course there's the real I, the real you, the soul, the consciousness, that pure light, because ultimately all human beings are pure. The ones that are actual human beings, we're pure because we're part of the Creator. We are part of God. We are part of this harmony, this divine cosmic organism that's at work. And Christ has said it, that the kingdom of God is within you. And with this perception, we build this ego. We look at our skin and we think we're white, or we're American, or we're Spanish, or we're this and that. Or my family this, or my family that, or my city, or... Now, one thing that we have to remember is nothing happens accidentally. There's no such thing as an accident. Every single little thing happens for a reason. And I know we heard this before, but every single thing, down to how many hairs you have on your body, or when a bum approaches you on the street and asks for change. It happens at a specific moment for a specific reason. And we need to pay attention. Most of us, we see how screwed up this world is. People blindly grow up and go to school and follow the social norm and go blindly and spend years upon years of working, for a boss, making this paper money that's not even real. I mean, that in itself is insanity. I don't know how we haven't thought of this earlier. Like, look at how insane it is. And then we're being fed with this information that's absolutely absurd. With lies. We're getting fed lies. And I'm going to tell you exactly what that is. So, all these lies, all these things that we see around us happens for a reason at a precise moment. There's nothing that's an accident, and I want everyone to know that no one is running anything except the Creator is functioning as everything should be, in complete harmony. All this negative stuff, all these so-called Illuminatis, it's all part of a grand harmony, a mechanism. Think of it as a perfect Swiss watch that's working accordingly. So when creation happened, one very important, and like I said, I'm gonna make a video going in depth of the creation process and how we came about, the human origins on this planet, on this realm, and things like that. I'm gonna make more video explaining this, but this video's point is to stop the fear. So first of all, everything, the whole creation happened out of love and perfect harmony, the yin and the yang. But when everything happened, a very important and fair, because a lot of people say life is not fair, but very important and fair universal law came into effect, and that's cause and effect. And that means your every action, your every thought, every little feeling that you put out has a equal effect. Every single thing. So everything happens accordingly. Now I know I myself come from a post-Soviet era country, and I've seen misery. I realize there are kids dying out there, and please trust me, all of this is part of a harmony. And this cause and effect has a very, very important rule, and that's karma. Now, a lot of us heard this word and we think, oh, when you do something bad to someone, or if someone is doing something bad to me, it's going to come back, twice fold or 3 times fold or whatever. And it's not that simple. But karma is that code to this so-called illusion, because this body is an illusion. All this is a reflection of light. Protons reflecting light, and the way you see yourself is perception. So this life, where you are born, in what family, in what city, in what state or province or country, you have karmically created that for yourself according to cause and effect. So there's no such thing as, I accidentally ended up being American or Spanish or whichever, or this race or that race. A lot of us say, even those people that are starting to wake up and getting spiritual, they say, oh, who cares about what race, or who cares about what nationality? I mean, it's very true if you think about it. If you think about it this way, that every race, every nationality, every place in the world, and the specific people residing in that place is part of a mechanism. Because as this universe and universes and dimensions are a super, with no beginning and no end, organism, so is this planet. Planet Earth is a functioning, breathing, living organism. And originally, human beings have inhabited this planet and became part of the organism, functioning properly with the harmony of the organism. As time passed, we got disillusioned, because how will you know, or how will the Creator know if you are good or you are bad, if there's no test, if you know, you're being taught nothing? You know, it's like kicking back and lighting up a cigarette and drinking a beer, and you know, everything is peaches and cream. I mean, you know, that wouldn't make any sense. So when we karmically create, I mean, down to the last detail, this body that we reincarnate to, we obviously get the 5 senses. And now I want everyone to know this, because this is, I mean, this is the absolute truth. Or if you look at any traditions, you know, the Buddhist or the Vedic or the Slavic Vedic, or even the teachings of Christ, but real teachings of Christ, because obviously the Bible that we have, the 4 Gospels, I'm sure everyone knows about the Council of Nicaea, the 4 Gospels being handpicked. And if you don't know, look it up. Being handpicked by Alexander the Great and deciding what we are going to be exposed to and what we're not going to be exposed to. And obviously it was, you know, the grand plan of what of the Illuminati, of the Kabbalists, of the, you know, Joshuites, whatever you want to call them. And like I said, I'm going to make separate videos about it. But when we reincarnated into this body, obviously we inherited 5 senses. And I'm not going to list 5 senses. I'm pretty sure we all know what they are. So all of those 5 senses are designed to test us. So every time you selfishly fall to those 5 senses, you create yourself a karma. You know, I heard someone say, well, you know, it's all energy. So if I buy myself a nice car and, you know, I'm putting out good energy because I like this car. No, that is false energy. So I'm sorry to say to everybody, and I know this is going to sound crazy, but so is sex. If you would know, there's only 2 kind of knowledge: is the correct knowledge of your consciousness and the false knowledge that we have inherited and we have created ourselves. Because once again, you have to remember, the body that the avatar and the body that you live in was down to the last detail karmically created by your actions and thoughts and emotions, false emotions and feelings from the previous life. Every single thing you see around you, your work, your family, everything was created karmically by you. Now, the family you reincarnate into and the people that are around in your life, your friends, you know, your co-workers, whatever, you are all karmically connected, meaning that, you know, starting with your family, if a family member is causing you temptation all the time, and you know, you can't be around them, and you know, they make you mad or things like that, usually those are reincarnations of souls and consciousness that, you know, let's call them people that you have wronged in the past, and now you are reincarnated into this lifetime and are connected and binded with them to make up for that. But there are also family and friends for that matter, which you are karmically connected almost forever. So throughout reincarnations, you may reincarnate as, and that also is according to their karma and according to your karma. You may reincarnate as their son or their father or their daughter, or nieces, nephews, whatever it might be. Now, you can look at the Buddhist teachings, and the first two noble truths say that life is suffering, and the second noble truth is the origin of suffering. So obviously there's a cause and an effect. Now, and then the city that you live in, let's say, right? Everyone in that city, all the souls in the city are karmically similarly connected. Now, once again, majority of people, especially nowadays, that you come across, they vibrate at very low frequencies. So they are there, once again, karmically created by you to cause temptation, to test you. And most of the time we fail. Because obviously we fail to any temptation. I mean, a lot of you, if you're going to watch this video, you're going to sit back and be like, yo, what is this dude talking about? We need money to live. We need a car to drive. We need clothes to wear. But every single thing that you created in this physical body, in this ego, is a karmic consequence. Now, there are different kinds of karmas, and there are books upon books written just on that subject. But to sum it down, you have three different kinds of karmas. And that one karma, the first one is the karma of the creator. That means, the law. That is basically the correct karma. That means, let's say, if you are sincerely doing something without any egotistical, wanting, some sort of payback for it, or, let's say you do something nice for someone, and in the back of your head you're thinking, yo, I'm the shiznit, like, I've done a good job. And, that's not a correct way of doing something good. A correct way of doing something good is when that's why we have a conscience, and that's why the conscience eats at us, most of us. And if you don't have a conscience, if you feel no conscience, if you do something bad, then you're not human, you're a psychopath. So the first karma is creator's karma. That means you are working and doing things accordingly to what you sincerely feel. Now, the second kind of karma is, and there are terms for this, but I'm not going to get into terms because I don't have English translations for them. The second kind of karma is when you and another soul, like I talked about before, are binded together through action. Now, again, that action, if it's sincere, let's say that person will owe you a equally sincere action. If you have done wrong to that person will equally owe you, a bad action in return, and it will fulfill itself. Now, the third kind of karma is the false karma, and most of us are living by this because we have completely forgotten who we are and what we are, and we're only working according to satisfy our desires. Now, desires and wishes, actually, you got to remember that every desire and every wish that you've ever thought about, you put in so much energy into it and thought into it that sooner or later it's actually going to happen. It's actually going to be fulfilled. But it's either going to come too late, and trust me, you're not going to have a good effect for it. Either in this lifetime or in the next, we're going to have to pay for it. Now, how do you know how to create good karma? Is if you go back to the teachings of Christ, and you know what's a sin and what's not a sin. And once again, how to determine if it's a sin or not a sin? If your intentions and your conscience, your good conscience is making an action. You know, I already said it, but you have really pure intention of doing something. That's a good action. If you know and feel that it's a bad action and yet you still doing it, that's bad. If you're doing something blindly, you're obviously paying for a karma. Now, so that is the code, and that goes back to me making a point about the Illuminati. You know, a lot of us are in great panic and fear, and they want you to feel great panic and fear that, you know, they're running the world, they're running us. But you have, you know, and a lot of people say that Illuminati are enlightened. They know their roots. They know these truths. So, you know, that's why they're running everything around us. That couldn't be further from the truth. Actually, the less material things that you have and acquired, the better you are off. Now, you know, in Western culture, we tend to say when someone is closed in, that we say, oh, look, they build a wall around them. Well, think about the Buckingham Palace, let's say. Think about this great, super huge fortress of temptations that this non-human has, because all these Illuminatis, most of them don't even act according to their own wishes. They have degraded so much karmically that they have all these material temptations, and they're so caught up into it that, you know, they are super far from knowing what they really are. And a lot of them are they're not even controlling themselves, they're being controlled by demonic forces. So basically, you know, most of us should know that we live in a three-dimensional world, and meaning that there are two dimensions below us. Now, these demonic forces, I don't want people to think that, you know, there's some creatures with horns and things like that, although they might be. But let's just think of it as dark energy, and they are also part of this harmony, this organism that's functioning. It's functioning beautifully. If you would really know the truth, you would realize that everything is working beautifully. There's no chaos that they have instilled in your head. So most of these people at the top, the so-called Illuminati, and by the way, this is why the symbol of the Illuminati is the pyramid, and at the top you have the eye, you know, separated, because at the top, you know, these people, they might know their origins and they might know the truth, but the bottom of the pyramid, they're not human. They're these psychopaths that are so, you know, far disillusioned that, you know, they you know, they're like animals. They're not humans anymore, because, you know, they're vibrating at such lower energy frequencies that they're just performing these functions of whoever is on top. And you know, a lot of us, I heard a lot of theories, people say Illuminati. I mean, obviously, if you look up the word Illuminati, you will think that it's enlightened. You know, you will think that those people are enlightened. And that couldn't be further from the truth. Illuminati is illuminated, meaning in the light, in the spotlight. So obviously these people are in the spotlight and not the divine kind. You know, they're, you know, we can see them. And enlightenment is what Christ talked about, the kingdom of God that is inside, enlightenment. Enlightenment, the Buddhist tradition has described it perfectly, and also the teachings of Christ, the real teachings of Christ, has described this perfectly. Because Buddha, just like Christ, enlightenment or Christ consciousness or Buddha consciousness means that you have no need for a physical flesh. When all the molecules in your body get completely purified. That's why when Christ was hanged on a cross, after 3 days he came back to life. He came back to his apostles, and after he told them the message of and the word, which, by the way, the word, as most of us know, was first, and it's not just a spoken word, it's a vibration. As most things, if we were able to see without the body, we would see that the universe is composed of vibrant colors and vibrant vibrations. But when Christ told the apostles the scriptures, we have a scene in the Bible where Christ ascends into heavens, and what that really means is the flesh literally disappeared, because Christ was more than a bodhisattva. Bodhisattva means a consciousness that chooses to come back to teach. But Christ was always light, and truly the Son of God, if you will. So when prophecy was fulfilled, Christ showed that, first of all, we are immortal. Your consciousness is immortal. If you find out the true kingdom of God inside you and get enlightened, you get completely purified and see that this is an illusion created by your karma, step by step, by you degrading back on your karmic path to such extent that you are stuck in this avatar thinking that it's real when it's not. I like to think of it as real because you are going through the test, but meaning this flesh is not real, because this is not you. Whatever you're seeing is just a perception that was embedded in your head and karmically built for you to have these temptations. Now, I know it's gonna, sound crazy, and you really have to process these things, and because it's so hard to break away from the flesh. We think that we have to work in order to sustain life, that we have to get money, and that we have to feed our kids, but we're not doing any good for us and not our kids. I mean, look at the world that we're leaving for the next generation. It's completely screwed up. We have our collective consciousness has just built almost a hellhole for the next generation. So if we keep doing the same things over and over, how are we supposed to see any changes? If we would truly see what the I is, what your consciousness really is, you would be able, first of all, you would have I can't even put it into words, because it's something that we cannot even fathom. I mean, our eyesight is so limited. Cats see better than us in the nighttime. If we truly lived accordingly to the universal law of harmony, we would be able to see, great distances apart in a matter of a second. Here, whatever all the vibrations that are out there, see all the vibrational colors. I mean, obviously I can't begin to even describe. I mean, it's absolute power of what's needed for us to function accordingly as this mechanism, as this perfect harmony. So Christ knew this truth. He came in, and the main message was to teach us love. So you have different kinds of reincarnations, and once again, because it's a repeat. reincarnations into this material world. So when you first reincarnate, well, let me first describe to you the different dimensions that your karmic path can take you. So first you have hell. Now I don't want everyone to think of hell like like what they describe in the Bible. It's obviously it's a different dimension of existence. It's much lower than this. So if you think that this world is screwed up right now, then just imagine how hell is. So after hell you have hungry ghost. And I'm talking by the Buddhist traditions. And I kind of like these explanations the best. Hungry ghost is a consciousness in limbo. It's without the physical body, but it's very much attached to the physical body. That's why the great book to read is Tibetan Book of the Dead, because it doesn't talk about death. It talks about how to live properly in order to pass the test and make a step up in your evolutionary soul path. So hungry ghost, once again, is a consciousness in limbo but still attached to the physical body, roaming around still thinking that it's a body, that it's alive. You literally might love, that's why it's so, all these temptations, all these senses, all these material things are so dangerous, because you can be a consciousness, as a hungry ghost in limbo, repeating the same process that you like let's say you're a junkie, let's say you love shooting up. You will literally, and once there's no time, there's no such construct of time. Time and death, and the whole theory of death has been created as a temptation by the people, obviously, that are so-called Illuminati, or whoever's been running, well, not running because they're not running anything, whoever's been at the top of this so-called illusionary pyramid for what they think at the top. They created these constructs to control us, right? And once again, if you are controlled by it, and if you believe in those things, you have karmically created that for yourself. So going back to hungry ghost, that's why it's so important not to get attached. If you're a junkie, if you're an alcoholic, if you love your freaking car, you might literally be repeating the process for endless amount of time. The next step is the animal kingdom, obviously, right? The step after a animal kingdom is a human being, and then a demigod. Now I don't want everyone, those that follow the book of Enoch, think demigods are bad or this and that. Our ancestors have left us these scriptures and explained to us the goodness of everything. I mean, we're not allowed to do any kind of killing at all. I mean, if that's not good, then I don't know what is. So next is you reincarnate into demigod. There are some sayings that after demigod you may become a planet. You may reincarnate into a planet, and because it's very much alive, and then a galaxy, and a constellation, and the whole point of it is for us to return back to the source. So all these Illuminatis, so-called Illuminatis, those Freemasons or whatever, they have just reincarnated from the animal kingdom, and they are acting as these psychopathic, out of control animals, is what it seems to us. And a lot of you may wonder, you're starting to wake up, and you kind of want to pass the knowledge to some people, and you grabbing these people, you kind of like want to shake them, like even the Mandela effect. You want to say, look, it's happening. How can you not see this? And they'll call you you know, a fanatic, an extremist, and a conspiracy theorist, and they just won't see it. But it's a simple explanation. They are performing their own karmic path. If they have just reincarnated from the animal kingdom, it's like telling a first grader, you know, to understand ninth grade math. I mean, it's not logical, right? And a lot of these, you know, the ones that are on top of the pyramids, they have once again, they have, you know, they have de-evolutioned themselves so bad karmically that they, you know, they are being, first of all, controlled by demonic forces, and a lot of them, you know, they want to control demonic forces. You know, that's why CERN and everything like that, it's real. But this is one thing that I want everyone to understand. First of all, fear itself is a very bad temptation. We're not supposed to have any fear. If you live correctly and one with the Creator, you have nothing to fear. All you have to fear is your own karma. You know that you will be dealt with justly. And, you know, obviously we have these tempters. We have this Illuminati, part of the harmony. You have to remember that everything, once again, is a harmony. We have them tempting us and showing us all this information and all these, you know, different things to cause more havoc and more illusion, and to get us, you know, to mess up. Because otherwise, how would, you know, the Creator know? How would you know if you're good or not if we did not have these tests? And most of us are failing these tests, because in this time of apocalypse, time of unveiling, when the veil is getting thinner, it's going to be happening in the next 50 years. And what's going to happen is that all this trash, all these Illuminatis and all these beings that vibrate at much lower frequencies, these animalistic psychopaths, they're all gonna be gone. Everything's gonna rid. This realm and this planet is going to rejuvenate itself as it has before. You know, flood and pre-flood and all this from the Book of Enoch. I'm gonna make a whole other video about this. But all of that is going to be cleaned out, and those that have actually connected back to themselves, to their real I, are going to be left, and there's going to be about 1 billion of us left. Obviously, to bring back the real social order, you know, to get this mechanism of planet Earth working properly again. See, I'm just going to touch on this a little, but I'm going to make a video about it. You know, different races in the ancient times have inhabited this planet at a specific location of the world to perform a specific purpose. And we were all equal. You know, it doesn't matter. You know, I don't want you to think of this in a physical, racist way. That has nothing to do with that. It's just like your body. You know, it's just like saying your heart would get prejudice of your liver. I mean, your heart is in a specific place performing its function, and your liver is in a specific place performing its function. Obviously, that's why if you would, let's say, yank out a liver and put it into a different place, you know, you will obviously you won't be able to live, right? And that's why, you know, these tempters, these forces that are meant to test us, knowing this, they have done whatever they can to take us away from our roots, to rip us out of our grounds, and so we forget who we really are. You know, you had a white race in a specific location. You know, I don't know in ancient times exactly where it is, but I will get you that information. Let's say Europe for now, right? obvious place. Europeans, let's say, the white race, and now there's different kinds of white races in the ancient days, and in the whole of the universe, they were like inventors. And we can kind of see that now, those traits still being left. The yellow, or let's say Asian, to speak of it in a physical term, they were the producers. They would take this invention and produce. The black race they worked with earth and with the ground, perfectly, and they would build things, and the red were secret keepers. They were keeping all this knowledge safe. And I couldn't begin to tell you the powers that the ancient people really had before, more and more souls were reincarnated and this whole dissolution started happening, and we started getting so caught up in the physical. They had, immense power. Right now we kind of have this tool of computers, and it's kind of good or whatever, but we wouldn't need any of that. All the correct knowledge is all within us. All the powers that's permitted to us, that is necessary to keep the organism, the harmony functioning, is all within us. Telepathy, telekinetic, and all these things. They were without question. Just think of it like this: if modern day humans are using about 3-4% of the minds, the ancients and our ancestors used 100. So just imagine, like walking on water and things like that. It was like nothing. But they were not done for egotistical things. Once again, they were done to, keep the creation going, keep the creation proper and correct, and the way it's supposed to be, in perfect harmony. Now, we have to be thankful for these people being controlled by demonic forces, because ultimately they are doing us good. They're not doing us any bad. They're doing us good because they're testing us, and they're performing their own karmic paths. So and there are also, so I don't forget, the correct order and the way it used to be karmically. When you used to have different kinds of people and reincarnations. So the very bottom, when you first reincarnate from the animal kingdom, you have what you call the smerde. Now, the closest way to translate this into English is the stinkies, because literally they stink of energy. Those are the people that either you're watching them on TV or on the video, or you come close to them and you just feel nauseous, you feel bad. You're like, they're draining your energy, they're sucking you out. And their ultimate purpose is, without asking any extra questions, is to eat, to go to the bathroom, and to fulfill themselves physically in any way possible. The next you have the next reincarnated step in the karmic step, before you go on into the next level of karmic evolution, are those that are thinking to build a family and to build a good society around them, and understand that the roots and the family are very important. And I'm talking all those that actually think properly. I'm not talking about what we have nowadays, because our whole social construct is screwed up. First of all, we're not even supposed to be living in cities. Our ancients had cities, scarcely, spread around, and they were only used to, in case an invasion happened. Living in a city is just, you can turn to science and you can see that it's I'm from New York myself, and you can see that it's complete suicide. I mean, the pollution and the water and the rat race stress that we have. So I'm talking about real family structure, real correct society. So the second level is those people that want to build their family and have kids and teach them the proper and correct way. The next you have the messengers, or I won't go as far as prophets, but the activists, and those that are they want to enforce the correct way, and sometimes they even act out of violence because they are defending the the correct creator's way. And the final step is you have the souls that have reincarnated to their last step in the physical. It's their last time reincarnated in the physical body, and basically they have done all three obviously before, so now they come into this life to fully and completely work on themselves in order to make the next step, and as Buddha, as even Christ has said, when in the Bible it's written when he was talking to God, but we all know that Christ knew meditation. So the way we connect into the real I, into our consciousness, and go inside to get enlightened is through meditation, is silencing the mind. And the way I love to describe the meditation is it's between an incoming and an ongoing thought. Now a lot of us will try to we'll still be in the bottom. That's what I'm sorry, I'm losing track a little bit, but for all those people that ask themselves once again, why can't I get through to someone? Well, if a person is reincarnated from an animal kingdom and they are at the first level, obviously you can't get through to them because they won't get it. Like, if you are a true spiritual person, you're not supposed to, and you are making a karmic progress, you're not, first of all, you don't do any killing. Not because it's someone told you it's right, it's wrong. You just you sincerely can't do something like that. You feel compassion, and by the way, compassion and first and foremost love are love is the strongest vibration in the whole universe. It's how the whole creation happened, and compassion is very close and closely related to love. So when you're truly waking up and you're truly progressing, you feel compassion for all living things, and you don't want to kill it. And as far as food goes, if you're karmically progressing, you obviously stop eating all meat, because it's literally it's a dead animal. It's roadkill. It has no life. It has no energy. And obviously, if you're in the bottom stages of a human reincarnation, then you won't understand these things. You'll listen to these words and you think I'm crazy. I love meat, but and being vegetarian, being vegan, it's not a diet. It's when you are karmically absolutely ready. You drop these things. Just like I have woken up one day and I couldn't even look at meat anymore, and I have no want to even look at dead meat. So I'm gonna make another video on this whole where you supposed to get real energy from, because food is very much a temptation. It's part of the senses that are supposed to test us. So ultimately we're not even supposed to be eating it. Food is just like a drug. It's an addiction. Um, the yogis say that we have, before reincarnated into a human body, we have gone through more than 800,000 physical kingdoms and different karmic evolutionary steps, all the way from the smallest bug, from a plant to a bug to an animal to all these different things. So we can tap into all of these now, because obviously we have done it already. We can tap into the mineral world. Let's say after you making your next step, after, let's say, becoming a vegan, you go into eating raw. I mean, you don't cook anything, you know. And again, it's plant life. You know, you have been a plant before. You can tap into it. You can generate and gain energy from the sun. And the next is water. You know, obviously, because once again you were in a mineral kingdom, and you can tap into this and you know, get your energy from water. And the very last is what we call prana. Prana means life, and you can get this energy from the sun. Now, like I said, I'm gonna make a whole separate video in regards to this. I did mention I was gonna talk about the Mandela effect. So our consciousness, our true I, doesn't just exist in this dimension. There are literally my ancestors, Slavic people, say that there are as many dimensions as the grains of rices that you can fit in a big, like, potato bag. I mean, literally millions. You know, in quantum physics we say, you know, people say that you know, every time you make a decision you create another universe, and it's very much possible. So your consciousness is in all these different dimensions, existing at the same time, and living and gaining experience and being tested at the same time. Now, I don't want, please don't focus on all these other dimensions. Don't think about, like, even Illuminati. Don't think about these things. All you have to focus is on getting yourself on the right path and living correctly. You know, all this information that you're gonna get in mass media and on YouTube and all these things talking about the reptilian race and you know, aliens coming to this planet, just scratch all of that. All you need to know is for you to find your way back to the source and start fixing your karma. Now, most of the karma we have inherited, obviously, from our past life. But if you actually start getting on the right path towards enlightenment, towards your true self, you will make giant leaps of cleaning your karma. So it's very important. You know, the Buddhists say that if you put someone on the path, even one person on the path of their true selves, and back to the source and harmony of everything, then you already, once again, you're making a giant jump, a giant leap in your karmic evolution. Now, once again, everything has to be done sincerely. You know, you have to scratch your ego. You have to forget, you know, these earrings that I'm wearing. And every time you look in the mirror, you see, you know, I see this hair and I want, you know, I think, does this haircut look cool? Or does that haircut look cool? This necklace or this coat that I'm wearing. All of that is bull crap. It's all a temptation. It's all going to make you regress. So everything has to be done sincerely. I mentioned this already, but this is very, very important. You know, you're doing it because you truly want to do it, not to gain something back for it. So, you know, you can. There's a great book to get. It's called Liberation in the Palm of Your Hand. So back to the Mandela effect. Actually, our ancestors, my Slavic ancestors, and all of us ancestors, because we are all one. Everyone needs to remember this. Black, white, yellow, we are all one. You know, we all have a common enemy. And that's first ourselves and what we're doing to our karma. And second, these demonic forces that are tempting us, and we keep failing to them. We are all, once again, we are all part of this grand organism, and we have to work together as we used to return back to the source and function properly. So back to our consciousness. So your consciousness exists in thousands and millions, different dimensions. So obviously, as I talked about in the beginning of the video, the veil has been getting very thin. It's been thinning. It's going to be thinning for the next 50 years, since 2012. Since it's getting very thin, the line between this and other dimensions is, I don't know no better way of putting it, but it's again, it's getting very thin. So what may happen at times is that we cross to this other dimension without even noticing, bringing back whatever is in that dimension, because all these dimensions, they are almost all very much alike, except our anatomy could be different to complement whatever physical and properties that dimension holds, or non-physical properties. So at times we bring back different part of ourselves. We may come back and our eye color might change, or all of a sudden we know more. And once again, just to touch on these dimensions really quickly, so there's millions of them, with different endless possibilities, and so they may differ in, let's say, in another dimension I might have a little more hair or a little less hair, or in one dimension I might not exist at all. But again, since the veil has been getting so much thinner between this and the other world, let's say, is at times we're crossing back and forth and we're not even noticing. And since we have, we're in the physical body and we build this perception, remember that everything is perception is all already coded in you. And let's say you knew a Bible verse this way, and now in the other dimension it's a little changed, it's a little different, you're coming back and you're seeing a change. And a lot of you are going to say, well, a lot of us are seeing the change. Yes, because in a way we are, once again, karmically connected. That's why we're able to see these changes. The people that are not seeing these changes, they are very low on the karmic evolutionary level, and they're not seeing these changes. You cannot get mad at them. You cannot get annoyed. They just, again, it's like explaining adult things to a child. They won't understand, and they shouldn't understand. They are performing their own karmic path, and for the just remember, everything is perfect. Everything is functioning exactly the way it's supposed to, and everything is going to happen exactly the way it's supposed to. All we have to worry about is our own karma and how to, I keep saying this, but there's no better way of putting this, to come back to the source. So yeah, so Mandela effect that's all it is. And the reason that I know that this is true is one, Slavic Vedas, they talked about these things, from thousands of years ago. They have warned my people about this. And whoever is, and again, there's no such thing as my people. We are all one. As far as humanity goes, we are all one. I'm not talking about those Illuminati scum, psychopaths, tempters that are going to disappear after this 50 years of unveiling comes to an end. They're not even going to exist anymore. But if you're effing up, you're going to go right along with them. If you can't break out of these physical chains, you're gonna go right along with them. Now I know how real. If you're a drug addict, if you're a junkie, you say, yo, but if I don't have this drug, I'm going through withdrawals. It's very real to me. But trust me, it's all an illusion. You have built this yourself. That drug is not doing anything but releasing the chemicals that are already inside your brain. You're tricking yourself into thinking that it's doing something. You know, the illusion is so, I mean, think about it, man. Every day you wake up and repeat the same process, going to work, going to the gym, talking to this person. Don't you see the problem with it? Don't you see that it's like a computer game, that video game that you keep replaying? The shit is not real. You have literally karmically built, let's say, the car that you buy. You karmically build this illusion just to tempt you. You know, let's say you want to go to the Bahamas, and you know, you want to buy the tickets, and don't you go to a travel agent first, and you know, and they show you a brochure and how it looks, and or you go online and you look at how the shit looks, and all of a sudden you're there and you're seeing, you know, kind of what you seen on the brochure on the website, and it's just a little more real. You think it's more real, it's not. It's karmically there. It's put by you to tempt you. And the reason this world is so effed up, because we have our collective consciousness, you know, what I like to call, the universal consciousness, has built this path for us. We need to return back to how our ancestors were originally. And, you know, a very great weapon that this enemy, these tempters, have been using is electricity. You know, there are a lot of theories that you need to go back to free energy and things like that. I mean, it all sounds very good, and maybe it's going to be the next evolutionary step for humanity, because it sounds all nice and everything like that. But if you were truly functioning as your eye and your consciousness, you know, and you're following the correct path, you wouldn't need any of that. Our ancestors were able to build spaceships with their mind, with their consciousness. Procreation is supposed to happen when two conscious souls unite and feel this love, this unexplainable, by a human being, unexplainable love, in order to procreate a real, you know, conscious, functioning body. And I'm talking body, you know, not just in a physical form, but, you know, in a spiritual, something that is pure, because we are all supposed to be pure. We have just trashed ourselves so bad because we keep failing. And obviously, I mean, how else, right? But, you know, it's not easy. It's all a very hard test. You know, the best way I could put it is, if you truly would surrender, the Creator will take care of you. Everything will be taken care of, and, you know, you won't. I mean, just think about it. I mean, yeah, we have phones, and let's say we can use Skype to talk to somebody thousands of miles away. If we were truly using our consciousness and what we were originally meant to be, you would just think of a person, and you would be there, just like that, right next to them, and feeling all their vibrations purely. Because all these emotions, like I said, they are not real. They are chemicals being released by your organs from the food that you eat, mostly, and from the shit that you breathe. Because we are truly breathing and eating shit. I mean, think about it. If you eat pork, man, you become, like, it's a good saying that they have, you are what you eat. Because if you eat pork, you will start oinking for real. You will become a pig if you eat these fucking, you know, shoot a deer and eat deer. I mean, it's, you know, dead meat. You will become this deer. Like, honestly, you will be going back to the animalistic kingdom. You know, it's all a temptation. And I know there's so much suffering, but again, think about it. I mean, think of the world that these so-called people that are running this world. There's only one law. One law is one by the Creator, and it's perfect. And the rule and rules that these people have created are just psychopathic, you know, that's why everything keeps failing. That's why we're living in such a shithole. I mean, if we were truly following the law of nature, we'd be in a fantastic world. We would have no bad habits. I wouldn't be puffing on this right now. I would feel wonderful. I would freaking, feel me. I would have no bad habits, no sicknesses, none of that. There's no such thing as a virus. It's only that our immune system has been dumbed down from the very first second that we come into this world. I mean, the process of birth giving is psychopathic. I mean, think about it, yo. A stranger yanks you out of your mom, puts you upside down, and spanks your ass, man, to make you cry. Your first experience of this world is madness. You're seeing, maybe your vision is not all that, but there's some vision, and you're like in this strange light, and the first reaction that you have is fear and pain. That is a complete incorrect way. I mean, and then they pump you up with these things to dumb down your immune system. Immune system is supposed to happen as all nature. It's intended to be free, and intended to develop naturally. We would not have any viruses at all, no sicknesses at all. It's all part of the illusion that we created. Because, and even think about it, you're eating these, I don't even have to get into the shit that's in the food, right? The GMO and all the food is not real. You're eating plastic. It's much better to get a leaf off a tree. If it was a tree somewhere far in the forest, and chew it a little bit, you would get a lot more energy from it than you would eat a humongous steak that's doing nothing for you. I hope I made sense, and I hope I wasn't jumping around too much. Now, again, I'm gonna make separate videos going into the Bible and the real Bible and the false Bible, the Book of Enoch, and all these different things. But I really wish and hope, and I don't want to use hope, because hope is, as Nas said it, false expectations appearing real. But I really wish that I came off clear, and the moral of the story was karma. Karma is the code for everything, and don't fear anything and anyone. Fear is another great temptation. There's no time, there's no death, there's only right now. And if you are listening to this, if you're watching this, then you are already blessed, as my very good soul brother likes to say. I really hope I came off clear. I did not script this. I didn't think about what I was going to say. I just kind of went into this. I felt the urgency to do it. Maybe I shouldn't have done it out of urgency, but I'm doing it sincerely and out of love for all of you, and especially my brothers in the street. And remember, you are God's children. You're pure, and you need to return to yourselves. That's why we see, whenever you take a people out of their original habitats and put in somewhere else, chaos happens. When we don't know our true ancestors and true roots, chaos happens. And look at all these developed countries. The guy from Lincoln Park just recently, man, you would think these people have everything, but obviously, I don't even have to say the guy from Lincoln Park, Amy Winehouse, or Jimi Hendrix, or Elvis, or all these people, man, committing suicide because they feel this great void inside them when they are alone. Because it's real, it's very much real. That void, that conscience, man, this shit is real. I love you all. Please prove to yourself that you're alive. I'm not going to edit this. I'm just going to post it as it is. It's natural. Whoever's supposed to get this and hear this is going to hear it. Whoever is not, is not. I love you all sincerely from the bottom of my heart. I will see all of you when this unveiling ends. Mwah. This was proof to me that you're alive. Uno. Proof to me that you're alive.